And at the end of the day, ask my competitors, what is the environmental policy of the Republican Party?
I heard your announcement speech. And
at the end of the day, we don't have one. We know what we're against, but I don't see how in the world a party in the 21st century is going to survive if you can't embrace the idea that the environment is worth saving, that man-made emissions are a problem. The solution should be more entrepreneurial and less big.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Lindsey Graham. He, of course, announced that he's running for president as a Republican, and in fact, he's in town tonight. Joining us now is Ben Stein, film actor, author, former speechwriter for Presidents Nixon and Ford. Hello, Mr. Stein.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. So you have some very definitive and strong opinions on Senator Lindsey Graham.
Well, I love him. I think he's fabulous. I think he is the national security candidate. I was a little dismayed by the clip you just used because I think we're getting way too hepped up about the environment, and that it's still by no means clear that man-made emissions are the real problem, and it's still by no means clear how great the problem is, and the measurements seem to vary all over the place. And before we start turning the world upside down, I think we should have some more precise measurements, and we should have a more precise way of determining what causes what.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, obviously, and that's what that really does bother me. It bothers me that he thinks, and in his speech, in his campaign speech, where he announced he's running, he said he is the national security candidate. He has more national security experience than anybody else, and he's probably right. And he's on the right side of issues on national security for the most part. But to make this, to sit there with Chuck Todd. Richard Todd was a quarterback for the Jets. To sit there with Chuck Todd and talk about this, he knows he's on Meet the Press. He knows he's trying to appeal, I guess, to, I don't know, to Democrats, liberals, wackos on the left. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at it. I must say I didn't know about it. I guess the thing is it just becomes so politically correct to assume that global warming is a menace and that man-made emissions are the problem, despite the fact that there's so much data that says that we've had higher emissions than this in the past, and that they have not changed the I beg your pardon. We have higher emissions from natural causes than from man-made causes, and they don't seem to have affected the climate in years past. The data is just extremely confusing. And there are many, many scientists who think that the man-made warming is a myth, and that even if there is warming, it's such a low order of magnitude that it doesn't really merit restrictions on individual liberties. I'm scared. I think that this whole idea is cooked up to allow the socialists to control the country.
So why would Graham buy into this?
I'm very surprised. I have to say, my mouth dropped open when I was listening to him speak just now. I don't understand it. I really don't. I'm puzzled, but as I say, I think something has to do with the incredible power of the idea in the mass media, and the fact that I guess even he is reluctant to take on the mass media. It makes me sad. I sent him a contribution just night before last, and now it makes me sad that he's bought into this. I mean, it's just a shame. I mean, I guess it reminds me of a very famous movie called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, in which somebody says, "This is the West when the legend becomes bigger than the truth. Print the legend."
Yeah. All right, let me ask you. Barack Obama giving the interview to Israel TV just after we find out from David Axelrod that Obama once told him, "I'm the closest thing to a Jew that's ever sat in the Oval Office." And then he goes on Israel TV and says, "Hey, you know what? Netanyahu, the world knows he's not serious about peace. I might not be able to stop the United Nations declaring a Palestinian state. When you're not talking, things like settlements become a big deal." As of course, he's giving Iran everything it needs to destroy Israel.
Well, he's not giving them everything they need to destroy Israel, but I'd like to go back a little farther than that. We never found out who was the White House official who called Netanyahu a chicken something, a coward.
Yep.
And I'd like to know who that was. What rumor has it that it was Obama himself. And with that kind of hatred and envy in him of an incredibly courageous man like Mr. Netanyahu, I don't understand how he can possibly claim anything like impartiality. But on the other hand, let's be honest and fair about this. The U.S. is giving a great deal of military support to Israel. They're planning to give even more, so credit where it's due. That's a very good thing. But I don't understand what he's doing. Again, he seems to think he can cater to the Arabs by being mean to Israel, and I don't think it works. The Arabs are not going to like us no matter what we do.
No, well, that's obvious. Very true. One more poll. You heard me talk a little bit about one of the polls at CNN in the beginning segment here before I got to you. But yesterday, the CNN poll showing real trouble for Hillary Clinton, at least in the numbers. Her numbers, unfavorability increasing, trustworthiness decreasing, and head-to-head matchups with Rubio and several of the other Republicans. It's within the margin of error.
Well, it's interesting. I think all of this criminal action on her behalf, the shady deals in terms of the commodities going back that far, shady deals in terms of the foundation, lying, destroying the records of her emails, all of this is catching up with her. A young woman from Vietnam who's a friend who does not speak very good English but follows the campaign said to me the other day, Hillary Clinton, not a good woman, right? And I thought, if it's reached down to that level of people who don't even speak very good English, it's got to be out there.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. So right now, we got about 30 seconds. So who impresses you the most on the Republican side?
Well, until this segment began, I would have said Lindsey Graham, but I think that maybe Marco Rubio. But I like Lindsey Graham a lot, and I'm hoping that he can listen to reason about environmental change.
Ben, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Nice to talk to you, sir.
All right, Ben Stein, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. That's why we're here. We're here to let you and Ben Stein and everybody else in on things that you might not hear or see anywhere else. Okay, when we come back, the one and only Dick Morris, political consultant and Newsmax contributor, will be here to talk about Bernie Sanders, among things.